Okay, so we may as well formally get started. So welcome everyone to the new to progress reports and new to initial observations. And in Aspen, it's the tool that we use here at Lambton Kent to communicate with families to get our report cards done. So we'll take you through some pieces today. We'll hopefully take an hour of your time and know that this session is for your learning. So please put things in the chat when you have questions, or raise a hand and we'll get you to come on mic and show things. But just thank you so much for spending time with us today, and hopefully you get something out of this, so it makes the practice of getting these progress reports and initial observations done with a little bit more clarity and calmness. So my name is Pam Gallant, and I am the Assessment and Evaluation Consultant for Lambton Kent District School Board. And so report card writing and all those pieces are under my portfolio. And today I have my coworker, Lori Meyer, joining us. She is one of our instructional coaches. So Lori, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, where you came from?
Sure. Yeah. My name's Lori Meyer. My first year as an instructional coach. I've spent the last few years at Arrow Road, and before that I was at Hannah, and just all around our board, and just really enjoying this year, getting into different classrooms, different grade levels, and seeing all this math thinking, and also working some with the benchmark assessment. So a lot of cool things going on. So I'm glad to be part of it and be welcomed into so many of our schools.
Yep. And I'm going to say it, Lori, it's your maiden voyage being a co-host. So thank you so much for taking a risk and doing that with me today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
So we just want to remind people we are recording this session. Hopefully, if I do it all correctly, we'll be able to post it on our Lambton Kent Elementary program blog, so that you will be able to review it. And just so if you have questions again. But then we've talked a lot about our videos that we have. They're short videos that will explain more about those, but that might be another tool that you access. So Lori's going to take us through the land acknowledgement.
We acknowledge the land on which we are gathered, that is a part of our traditional territory of the Chippewa, Odawa, Potawatomi, and Delaware nations. By personally making a land acknowledgement, we are taking part in an act of reconciliation, honoring the land and Indigenous heritage, which dates back over 10,000 years. And I think this time of year, all the harvest happening, and just a lot to be thankful for the land that we have and the food that we gain from it. So just taking a minute to appreciate all that.
I agree. Yeah, just so much abundance in our land. We're very fortunate. Okay, so today's focus is about answering some questions. So in planning the session, we wanted to make sure that you walked away with some answers to questions like this. So what resources are available for learning? What is the content of the initial observation and progress report? So just ground ourselves. What is our professional responsibility as we do the report cards and initial observations? And then where's our teacher judgment in that as well? And within Aspen, so how do you actually access the progress reports? Once you're in, how do you input marks? So for our progress report, it will be those progressing marks. And for kindergarten, there's no marks to report there, so you get a little break on that part. But all of us will be entering comments into the report cards. And so how might you do that? And there are 3 options. From low tech to high tech to, actually you can do, doesn't matter which way you do it. It's just a matter of what suits you and your workflow as you go through things. And then one of the interesting parts of Aspen is it's a great database for storing information like marks and comments, but then how do you actually get it on a document that you can read? There's a very important button called Postgrades. That will be, Lori, I'll be quizzing you as we get through there. What do I need to do next? And your answer most likely will be,
don't forget to post the grades.
There you go. That is when people doesn't work for them, that's one of the questions I'll be asking you. So you can't wear out that button, is what I say with that. So hopefully after the hour today, you'll have some answers to some of these questions. So let's go to question number 1. So what resources are available for learning? So when you look at our professional learning, not all of us like to learn the same way to go things. So we are trying to honor that by having live sessions, and they get recorded. And then we also like to offer some on-demand resources. And so those come to you as in the version of a print document and video resources. And so maybe you found out about this session through an email that came to you and had this flyer attached to it. So advertising our session and just letting you know what those dates are coming up. So if you are new to progress reports and initial observations, you're in that writing mode starting now. And the week of November 1st to the 5th, your principal will have communicated a date where those progress reports or initial observations are due to the office. And then they will all be sent home to families on the 12th, and we'll have an evening of parent-teacher interviews and the day on the 19th to do those interviews. So schools will be planning that as well. But on the right-hand side here, these on-demand resources, these are links if you have the original document to go through and find something on the portal. If you're familiar with the portal, this may be the fastest play for you. And if you like to read information, that document is probably your key resource. Our blog is, maybe you're in the habit of connecting on our LK elementary program blog, because like in Lori's world, you have lots of math. So I know they're looking at revamping and finding those games. People go there for that. But we also have our last year's posts about the report cards. And so we can search and find that. And then the last one is a new resource. And it's our SharePoint. So some of you that have started the benchmark process maybe already joined our SharePoint for reading assessment with benchmark. So we have one here. And I'm just going to escape this screen and go to the first one. So if you are used to using the portal, we're in the program area. In the left-hand side here, there is the side launch for elementary report cards. And then there's a list of documents that may support you in writing your reports. It is the one called LKDSB Reporting Aspen, Achievement in Aspen. And so it looks like a document like this. So then you can download this or use it digitally, whichever you choose. And I'm just sorry for scrolling through this quickly, but you'll see that if you read through it, they'll highlight things to be looking at, what's important information. And then near the end of the document, this is the big scroll, it always makes me a little dizzy. We have videos for things. So these are your links. So if you wanted to know how to enter marks, there's a series of videos here. And you just click on the little video link and you'll be able to watch these videos for you as a resource. So this is the key resource that we have available. If we learn new things about Aspen, we update this and put it back on the portal in an updated format. So Lori, was this your tool of choice last year when you were doing your reports?
Yes, definitely. So doing that, and then also, I find that coworkers, right? So how do you do this? Oh, and let's go to this together and have a look. And it's very helpful.
That's good to hear. And then that's a good key point, is like a colleague can show you one way, because Aspen does have some options of doing things a different way. So when I was putting the booklet together, it was like, let's see if we can find the most efficient path to that. One of the other resources we have is our LK Elementary Program blog that's wide open to everyone. So if you were in this blog, you'll see that we're coming up with the things that are here from the fall. So some science things, what's happening on anti-oppressive education, English language learners, lots of math things are here. But if you're looking for last year's report information, go to the Search This Blog section and just type in reports, because if some people like working in blogs. So here's last year's posts that we had about reports. So you'll see there's places for the videos to be posted. We did remove our recorded sessions from last year. But then you'll see that you can access like the documents and that sort of things and new videos here. So that's one resource. And then the final resource I just want to share with you.
Pam, can I just ask a question just to double check?
Yeah.
The videos on the portal would be the same as the videos.
They are. Yeah, they're identical. Yeah. So everything. So right now you're seeing all the same things. It's just about what platform do you want to use?
Yeah. Just wanted to make that clear that it's the same videos. It's not like you need to get information from more than one place.
Correct.
It's just different ways to access that information.
Absolutely. And then the last one is this SharePoint, which I can, if you click on the link in that flyer, you'll get asked to join this. So this is the homepage of it, and just gives some the overview of what this page is. Then here at the top, there's another tab to go to, how to videos. So all the same videos, they're just listed here. And this is brand new. So we haven't really shared this more within 10 people or so. So they're all here. And again, if you click on one of these boxes, you'll get access directly to a video. And then the last tab is the document page. So, and that's where you can find a copy of this LKDS reporting student achievement piece. So you as a learner, professional learner, you will decide which one is the best tool for you. So just to recap that, so all of those resources had identical pieces, but you can choose your platform. Go through the portal to find it, go to the blog to find it. And if you have this original flyer, you just click on that and I'll get an email saying you would like to have access to the SharePoint, and I'll let you in to do that. Okay, so our second question that we, since this group is new to that initial observation or progress report, or maybe just new to the Aspen part, but let's ground ourselves in the professional responsibilities that we have. So these are the two books that guide our decisions as educators and our responsibilities as educator when it comes to assessment, and that is the Growing Success document. So the first one is for kindergarten, because when the new kindergarten curriculum was written, the kindergarten addendum came after the Growing Success document that covers the assessment policies for grades 1 through 12. So I'm giving you an overview of that today, but it is our professional responsibility to look at these books and understand the information in it. So one of the things I wanted to pull out is we were having a great discussion about this actually with our team on Friday. And this, like, so when you are choosing that to check off the mark for progress report, we're making that decision. Our students, like, we're communicating with families, are students progressing with difficulty, progressing well, or progressing very well? And a key thing is that at this time, we are reporting the students' progress towards making achievement of the curriculum expectations. So we are really in that formative stance, assessment stance right now. We are not yet having to make a judgment, an evaluation on how those students are doing on those expectations we're giving them learning opportunities with. So we can take a step back and not have to make predictions on how they're going to be achieving by the end of the year. This is just, how are things going towards meeting those expectations? So we'll get ourselves in that assessment stance of formative. And the other piece is Growing Success guides us that when we do make these evaluation moments, or we're trying to share progress towards those, the achievement of the expectations, that is our responsibility to gather evidence. And it is our responsibility to accept and use and reflect upon the observations we have in our classrooms, the conversations we have with students. Listening to students having conversations can also be included there. And then also what products they have. So the more that we look to see what students do, and we listen to what students say, and the more we gather and reflect upon what they represent, we're going to have a better picture of what their learning is. So we can really sit back and think, I may not have a product of how a student is, putting together that pulley system, but I watch them build a pulley system. My observations tell me that they have a really good understanding of that science expectation of how a pulley works and how it makes their life easier. or, I sit and have a conversation with the student about a book they've been reading, and they can tell me lots about that character. Like, we had a conversation about that. So I can trust that I'm using my judgment here to make those, I can make some decisions about how those students are progressing towards meeting those expectations. I know Lori and I were having a great conversation about that, like, what happens when you don't have a product?
Yes. I know. And I think coming to with the math lens, we really focus on doing a lot of number talks and problem solving, and what are the things we're seeing students do, what are the things we're hearing students say, and they're working with and understanding with number. Mm-hmm. It might not be something that's written right out on paper, but we're hearing and we're seeing a lot of learning happening. And that's something we can definitely use for our evaluation.
And this is the same kind of language that's very immersed in the kindergarten curriculum and the kindergarten addendum. And like, we hear our little people say, I want to be your friend. Friends, share things. Like, you can, you heard them say that and defend that thinking. You can put that into initial observation about how they're starting to, make connections with people in their classroom. So please value what students do say and represent in our classrooms, because it is a valid form of assessment. So then, as we move to the document, we know what our documents that we're going to have to produce, what they look like. So in the kindergarten initial observation, this is what the end product will look like. It's blank right now, but at the top part, all that demographic data will be entered automatically from Aspen. So you don't need to look after that. But as teachers, you will be asked to make indication if a student is an English language learner or has an IEP. So there will be a spot in Aspen where you will do the work to put an X in these boxes if it's required. And then the other part, but when you're working towards the completion of the kindergarten initial observation, is that you will have to fill in this box. And note, the kindergarten teachers, you are thinking in that 4-frame environment for progress reports and the initial observation, initial observation. You were looking at that child's development so far, and it doesn't matter what frame you're focusing on. You can focus on 1 frame, 2 frames, 3 frames, 4 frames. It's your professional judgment, because right now you're just in that stance of making that initial observation of what are some key learning for the student, what's the growth in learning you can share, and what's next step in learning, and you can determine the frames that you're giving evidence from that. Okay. Those of you that are grade 1 to 8 educators, your progress reports look a little different. The top part, again, will be filling all that demographic data, and the address of the school, that sort of thing, will be filled in from Aspen. And on the first page, you will be looking at the learning skills, where you have the responsibility of reporting on each of the 6 learning skills: the excellent, good, satisfactory, needs improvement, and then a comment to reflect the strengths and next steps for improvement as you see them at this time. On page 2 of the document, you'll see that all those subjects are listed there. So all of the subjects need to have a progressing well, progressing with difficulty, or progressing very well recorded, or if they haven't been taught this term, then you will have put an NA. So for example, the NA is available for the art subjects. So at this time, 1 art must have a progress mark reported, and the other 3 arts could have NA. Again, some of those classes are taught by curriculum partner teachers, so there's, you have to have a plan for all of that, but at least one of the arts needs to be reported on. Grade 7, 8 teachers, if you are history, geography, you can split those up by term, so you can put an NA for one of those subjects if that's required. And to just note, though, that the subject marks, it's a shared responsibility. So one of the educators here, Dan, he was talking, he's a curriculum partner or prep teacher. So he's sharing that responsibility with the homeroom teacher. So as educators, you will only be able to enter marks and comments for the subjects that you teach. Okay, so it is that shared responsibility to go with that. And then with comments on the progress report at Lambton Kent, we require homeroom teachers to make a comment for the language subject and the math subject. And then any subject where the student is achieving, progressing with difficulty, we ask you to make a comment there as well. So those are the required pieces. So Lori, have you ever had a student where those progressing with difficulty comments need to be made?
Yes, I have, Pam, and
Yeah.
I always ensure for good practice that I've been in contact with those parents. It's not something that you want to be a surprise on the report card. These are sometimes students where maybe testing might be taking place sometime soon, or they're on the list for that. There's definitely concerns about the students' ability to progress. It's not that they're haven't met the expectation yet, but they're quite far from it and they're not on the path to achieving certain expectations. So that's definitely, you know, a student of a, you know, I've maybe spoken to the principal, the resource teacher, the parent, and we're all in an understanding that this student is progressing with difficulty, and we maybe have some sort of plan and action for that student.
Right. Excellent advice. And that kind of links back to that demographic data piece too, because some of our students will have an IEP in place for their learning. So when we are making the progress determination on that subject mark, we are making it based on their IEP. So if they have an IEP in place, we're looking how are they progressing towards meeting the expectations in that IEP with the modifications. And like sometimes students are struggling in a variety of subjects, so more than just one. So it is okay for you to make a collective statement. So say if they're struggling in science and social studies, then you can make a comment that says, you know, in science and social studies, because they're probably struggling with the same kind of way. So you can put those comments together. Okay, so that's kind of the overview. So we're going to be going live into Aspen. I'll do some demonstrations, but there's a couple of places I want you to look at first and notice how important they are for getting our path to doing the report cards in Aspen. So when you log into Aspen, you will have a top toolbar that has a Markbook tab, and that's where we're going to spend most of the time when we're doing these progress reports and initial observations. It has the view of a spreadsheet, so just like, you know, recording things in it. And what you can do in that area is input marks if required. So kindergarten initial observation, there's no marks for you to put in. And then there's an icon to show where you enter the comments into the report. The other part in Aspen that you could use to complete your reports is the tool area. And the tool area is a building tool, so you construct things there. So that is where you wish, if you wish, you can go in and create comments and manage the comment bank. So I will that's the last thing I'll show you today is about building the comments, because as far as things to do, using the tool is not a high priority. You can create the report card with not using the tool. So if we get to that demo today, we'll get there, but know that there are lots of videos on this part as well. But within Aspen, those two pieces work together. So you will have a function that will actually connect Markbook and tools together. Okay, so when we go live, I'll be getting you to check it in the screen and see where you can have it. And you probably already noticed it. You've been looking at those from, you know, every day when you're doing attendance. But I just want to confirm. So when you go back to do your kindergarten initial observation, you can do everything in Markbook, and then you could choose to do the tool part. So just a choice there. And then if you were doing the grade 1 to 8 reports, all those pieces that we spoke about all use Markbook to enter information in. And if you choose, you could use tools to complete the comments in the learning skills. And if you choose, you can use tools to complete the comments. And okay. And one thing that drove me crazy when I first saw about Markbook is like, where's the save button? And in Aspen, it automatically saves the data entered on the Markbook sheet. So whatever you put in, it gets saved in real time. So trust that. But then we need to know another important button. And so when again, this is the third thing I'll be asking you to look for when we get into the Aspen Live, is we need to be able to make these Markbook entries visible on the actual report card, the PDF version. And that is going to be that Postgrades button. And Postgrades it has to be done for every subject. So if you're working on language and you made some changes, everything you have on the spreadsheet will be saved, no problem. But if you want it to become visible on the report card, you have to click that Postgrade button. If you then switch to your science comment and you put in some progress marks for that, you have to click Postgrade to actually make it visible on the report card. So I use the Postgrade button like my save button. I don't know about you, Lori. Did you wear out that button?
Yeah, just good practice. I just clicked it almost every time I went in to do something. Before I was done working on a section, I would post the grades every time.
See, I knew you were my kindred spirit. You and I want to push that button. But, you know, it is possible that once you do it for every subject, you only have to do it once, the very last day before you send them off to the administrator. But you do Postgrades to reflect changes. So if you add something, Postgrades, that's how you make it show up. Like say, oh, I forgot someone's mark. I'll go in and put in the V for progressing very well. Then, you know, I need to Postgrades to make it actually show up. So I just click it. Even if I thought I clicked it again.
Yeah, I'm just one of those people who would like to look at how the report card's coming together as I'm working on it to see how it looks. And if I want to go and do that and not see something blank, I need to make sure I post them every time.
There you go. So I'm going to go live here, but do we have any questions in the chat that I can address?
Well, one person did say, we don't know how she got to that page, but I wasn't sure which one they were referring to, if it was the resource page from the principal. So the one with sort of the flyer.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll go right now. I'm in the document. So if you're looking for the video link, it's on page 29, right at the end. And yeah, they're there. So those are all the videos listed there. So document and videos room 1.
Yeah.
And then maybe if it was this little flyer, I sent that out to principals and they were asked to forward it on to you. So if you want to put your name in the chat, if you didn't get it, I could send it to you directly. So,
and then,
I should show you one page just to make my privacy heart be calm. So I'm going to go live to Aspen, but I'm actually working in a training environment. So I am acting to protect student privacy by using something that IT has set up for me. They called it scrambled data. So none of these are real kids. I am working in Sir John Moore School and environment. And the reason why I'm working there is because they have English classes, they have French immersion classes, they have French core, and they have Ojibwe classes, and they have kindergarten and 1 through 8. So they give me lots of flexibility to things that I show, but it's made up stuff that I'm looking at. So, and it's really important anytime we're looking and learning together that we act to protect student privacy. So one of the things, if you need my assistance, which you can do, is email me and I'll say, hey, let's meet on Teams or Google Meet, and you can share your screen with me so that we can talk together about the things that you're having questions about. I don't have access to your student data, so this is like a made up world. Okay, so hopefully this is big enough for everybody to see. There's one thing that you may not see. Sometimes this works in Zoom and sometimes it doesn't. The pop-up boxes. So they show up for me, like when I say I want to print something, and I'll be talking about them. So Lori, let me know if there's no pop-up box that happens.
Will do.
Okay. Any other questions?
Nope. We're good to go on.
Okay. Okay, so this is the our toolbar along the top. So if you arrive in the morning, you have the pages part, and you probably know how to use the attendance button quite well. But we're going to look at Markbook and a little peek at tools. So these are the two areas, but you're going to spend most of your time in the Markbook area. And I have a list of things I want to show you, but Lori's going to help keep me honest doing all these paths. So again, if you were a kindergarten teacher, you have a lot of skills that are similar to what the grade 1 to 8 classes are going to be. So don't think you have to wait to listen to see the kindergarten page. A lot of the skills are transferable between the two. So when you arrive in your Markbook page, you'll see your name will be listed on the left-hand side. And then along this gray toolbar at the side, the only one you're really going to be using is the scores tab at the bottom. Okay, so Markbook and scores are the places you're in. If you're following along in the document, you will see a page similar to this, and I'll have red boxes around Markbook and scores. So the document will show you that. If you're watching a video, you'll have little annotations available on the screen, so you'll see where I'm pointing. So Markbook, so this is a list of all the courses you have that are assigned to you. Again, this is my training environment, so I asked them to give me lots of examples. So if you're a prep teacher, you might find like I have a big long list like this too. Lori, you were English to French immersion last year, right? So you had English and French and math. Is that what you taught for two different grades or 4 different grades?
English and math. Yep. And then I would have my duplicate grades as well, my duplicate classes. Yeah.
And homeroom too. And homeroom is your learning skill spot. So, you know, your list was short, but if you're a curriculum partner, you might find your list is quite long. So all of these headings here are, if you click on them, they will sort by alphabetical order. So that might be a way of like helping you focus along on your list. Okay. So I'm going to start by looking at a dance class for this class. So when I click on here, this is just a page that doesn't seem to help me very much. So that's when I need to click on the scores tab. And then I'm going to be able to view what looks like a spreadsheet. Okay. And I'm going to make sure, because I'm in the training environment, I have lots of things going on here. So I need to make sure that I am in the right terms. So the first one, post columns, and I'm going to make sure I'm in my progress. Okay. If I click this all, for example, you'll see like, ooh, I don't have anything over here. So just go in and change it to what am I working on? I'm working on my progress reports right now. The 2 terms we have winter, already it's winter for progress report. I wish. So we're going to make sure we're in winter term, and then we're going to keep it on gray. When you have students that you see every day, they are enrolled. They're their face-to-face students. We may have students that leave us to transfer to another board. This withdrawn button will help us find those students. Okay, but we're going to focus on the enrolled students today. And I'm in my dance class now. This is a drop-down menu of all the courses that you had. So you can flip from screen to screen. But I'm going to focus on dance to start off. And update post columns. Not really sure what we use that for. I just leave it alone. But it's the Postgrades button that is the most important for me. Okay. So I'm going to work here, and then, so this is our table that we're working on. So get in the habit of when you change subjects, you go back and check, yeah, I'm still in progress, I'm still in winter, so that you're sure you're working on the right thing. The next thing to check is your students, and I'm just going to use the left-hand side. There's a little scroll bar, so I can see all the students in this class. You'll see icons that are similar to what you see in their attendance. And you will be able to, the one that we'll be looking for is this IEP, because that's useful for us. And if anyone has an ELL designation, we'll be able to use that information. So Lori, what am I going to do with the dance? What do I need to demonstrate?
So I need to decide if they are progressing very well, progressing well, or progressing with difficulty.
Right. So but I'm going to say, like, you know what? I haven't done dance yet. So this is something I'm going to put that NA comment on. And I always like to start my report cards with those because then it makes me feel like I've got something done. So most of us would think that, our progress report, should put my not applicable here, but actually there's a column that's just for not applicable. So it's something I'm not doing here. So you can see the X has been put in here. I've started working already on this. But if you needed to know if you click on a box for David, so it highlights the column that you're working on. If I type in an X here, oh, and I get something red here because I put the wrong kind of X. This needs to be not a capital X, a lowercase x. So sometimes it's hard to remember what you can put in there. So there's some shortcuts again in the book, the document, but Control L, can you see my pop-up menu this time?
Yes.
Yay, good. So
yep.
This tells me that I can only use a lowercase x in that spot. So if I click OK, it will put that in there for me. And yellow is good, it's happy. So I can just start typing X's in here because I'm not giving that to everybody. I'm not giving a mark for the dance all the way down, but there is one more shortcut that you can use. Again, press Control D. Oh, I need to put something in there. So X in there. I want to Control D, which means fill down the column, and it filled in the rest of the column for me. So I know everybody's getting an NA, so therefore I am done my dance marks for the term. What should I do before I leave this page?
Postgrades.
Postgrades, yes. Okay. So again, it's going to be asking me some questions. So is it the class dance? Yes. Oh, it's winter term. I'm going to change that. Is it the progress? And it's okay. I've been here before. So this message, yes, I've been here before. Posting again will overwrite. Do you want to continue? Yes, I made the changes I want to make. This is all okay. It's going to take a little moment to do that. I'm just going to tuck it away here, minimize, because it takes a little bit of time. So there we go. We got one subject done. So we've talked about how there's a column for NA, Control L, Control D. You can see everybody's names by scrolling. And this is automatically being saved here. But if I wanted to go to the report card, I had to press Postgrades. Okay, so now I'm going to go to another class. So let's go to the music class. So I'm going to go to that grade 1 music class.
Pam, just 1 second. Yep. They are wondering, do they need to put any comments like dance will be reported on in term 2 into the comment box?
You may do that if you wish, but you are not required to. The only comments that must be put in there are for language and math, and if a subject's progressing with difficulty. So that is your choice.
Yeah.
Okay. That is good practice on term 1 report card. So when we revisit this again in January, like you're going to report on 3 and give 1 the NA mark. So say if it's like music, we're not doing music. Well, I'm doing music now, but when say I'm not doing drama, I'm going to say that for term 2. You might want to put that comment in there. Okay, so progress report. So I'm in the progress winter term. These are my enrolled students, my list of students here. So this time I'm going to focus on this column that has the progress. So again, my options are progressing very well, progressing well, and progressing with difficulty. So using that Control L, it can prompt me. So what are the codes or the IDs that I can use? I can use a capital D, a capital W, and a capital V in the reports. So I'm going to go, so I chose, I can change that. I can type them in. I can use that radio button to go in, and you can just enter in what you have for assessment for the student to go along there. Okay. If we do have one student, so in this class, Mitchell, that has an IEP, and this is when you should be thinking, do I need to assess music with IEP? Okay, so that is you'll have to go back and refer to the IEP to find out about that. So if it was true that his IEP does impact music, then again, Control L, what is the code I'm going to use there? And it is a lowercase x. So I can put that in there. So it matches, so I know that that will pop up on this report card, on the progress report. Okay, so again, you can just start typing in, or you can use Control L, and you could say that student is progressing very well as well. So I'm going to use the W, and it pops it in there. Okay. And I did some work, so I'm going to post.
Pam, for the student that you checked the IEP box, you still need to assess them,
yes,
right? With your or W. It's just that you're checking the IEP box because that student has music expectations on their IEP.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. There you go. So I'm going to switch teachers here. So for the purpose of this, so just give me a second here. I'm going to switch teachers so I can get at someone that has a homeroom. So again, so I'm back in that, what are the courses that Jeffrey is teaching here? To help me out, I can sort them alphabetically. And homeroom is the indication for learning skills. Okay, so my table is going, and I'm going to click scores to get at the page. So the table will look different now because we have 6 learning skills that we have to report on. So there's my student list, scrolls down, and we've got, I'm in the progress report, it's winter, enrolled students. So here are the 6 that I need to fill out for their reporting, e.g. S and N, again, capital letters. So I've done some work on this already, put them all in here. And collaboration, like say, if I'm going to go through and give everyone an assessment, I can do those individually. But this was a neat little trick that someone taught me last year. They're like, most of my kids in the class are getting a G, like when I went through and did their evaluation. So I would type their G, and then I'm going to use the Control D. Oops, I went the wrong one. Oops, I did that, the wrong column. Here we go. Control G and Control D. So it fills down that whole column.
So Pam, I think we just had a learning moment because you just did that in the wrong. Is there?
I did.
Is there an undo button?
Nope. You have to go back and redo those.
Yeah.
So have a paper copy.
Yes.
Or don't be click happy like me. Yes. So then you can go back in and say, you know what, this one, she's excellent. So I'm going to go and change there. Dale, he's excellent as well. So you can go in and individually change those. Okay, so use the Control D with caution, because that's what happened over here. Okay, if I started with Luna, let's see, E, and I did Control D, predict what's going to happen. It only goes below it. So it didn't give the people up top. Okay, if you're like, oh, what a mess, I made a mistake. So click there and you can backspace that out, clear it, Control D, and you can clear everything. Just start again. So, okay. Again, in the manual and the videos, you'll see pieces of that. So in the learning skills, you will have 6 to fill out, but then it's maybe you're ready to write some comments. So that's what this last little part of the table is. Oh, and I should show you that. See how this table is quite wide. So it has the 6 columns. If I use this sliding bar on the bottom, see how one of those, that responsibility column disappears. So just be aware that you're not going crazy. Things are there to do that. But if I want to write a comment, I'm going to click on this icon at the end. And this is one way you can enter comments. So in this box here, you can free type. And you can type things in here. Okay, so two things I want to show you here. So this is the only place you can spell check your report cards. So I made free, instead of free type, I write free tube. So check, spell check. And it's not picking up mine, so I went to write TYPE. So you can free type in here. And space does not translate to the report. So what I mean by that, if you're typing your report and like to do responsibility, write a paragraph, skip a line, do communication, cooperation or collaboration and skip a line, that's not going to show up on your report card. So just type them in. It's just a function of how things work. Okay. And this is where you will have to save your comment. Notice I have two save buttons here. So if I'm in the groove and I want to write report cards, if I click save, I'm going back to this start page here again. If I go to David's page again and I go save and advance, I go to the next kid in the list. So it saves me a click or two. So I can free type in this space, whatever I would like to say. Okay, if I don't like that, just cancel it and put it there. Okay. I'm going to show different ways of entering comments in here, but kind of wrapping up our homeroom page, you have 6 pieces of information to fill in and comments to go along here. I'm going to take a moment to look at the kindergarten report right now. And so with the kindergarten report card, initial observation, no marks to put in, but you do have that IEP column. So if by chance you have a student that is an IEP, it's not very common, but it does happen. But maybe we have a student that's an English language learner, and I don't have a sample here in this class list, but again, to find out what to put in this English language learner column, Control L will tell us what we can put in there. And again, it's that X. So say if Stevie is a English language learner, I can put that X in there. And for the kindergarten communication of learning, again, you're in that progress spot and it's winter. And you are in the free type zone. You can free type here. But Lori, do you have any friends that are kindergarten teachers like I do?
I do. I have a few.
Right. And they like to collaborate with those very important people, the ECEs.
Yes.
So what do they usually do when they are working on reports together? What do you notice? And I think this is something you do too.
Yes, I do. And I know a lot of kindergarten teachers and other teachers. I usually work in Google Docs. And I know a lot of kindergarten teachers because you can share that document with someone else. I tend to type up my comments there. Mm-hmm. And then I copy and paste them into the report card. I've even learned to split my screen on my computer.
Yeah.
So I can just be seeing both the report card and my docs at the same time.
Same time. Yeah. So that's great. That is an excellent skill to get somebody to teach you how to split your screen or having two monitors going. Yes. So I modeled this here. I just mocked up a comment. So when we began the school year, Pam wanted to know how to spell her name. She asked each day for help. Now she's beginning to look for her name card on the wall. Pam is making the connection that the symbols are the letters and they are making the sounds of her name. So maybe, me and my ECE have collaborated on that. We've got good evidence. We've got a little story to tell when we have interviews. So you can copy this information over. I do recommend though, keep it just to letters and numbers. No fancy characters, no emojis, because that makes Aspen blow up. So it's basic. So again, you're copy this, whatever, Control C to copy it. And then you can come back to your Aspen. I'm going to put that, pretend Stevie is Pam, and then you can paste the information in there. Okay. Again, just go through and save. So that's the two ways you can enter information. You can copy and paste in, and then if you say, oh, I have another idea, something about their math learning, you can just free type in that space there. But again, this is the only place you can use that spell check tool. So maybe it's best to use your spell check tool in the doc. Well, where did I go? Here we go. If you go to your, use all the spell check tools here. I like using Grammarly. That's something that helps out me with my grammar tools. And I use it in my emails all the time just to help me with my grammar and spelling. So any tool that you have available will be great. Any questions there that we need to address?
I haven't seen any. Does anyone want to pop on with a question?
Okay, so we've got our kindergarten. So, if you're making comments, you have choices there. And again, if you've done something in Postgrades, if you miss it this time, it's fine. Just the only time you really have to do that is to make it visible on the report card. So I'm going to see, let's go see what it actually looks like on a report card. So we posted grades, winter, it's the progress. I've been here before, so yes, I get this message saying, do you really want to change things? Yes, I do. Sometimes if you have withdrawn students, it will ask you, you've withdrawn students, do you want to update them? You say yes to that as well. So now I want to look at it on the report card. So you will be now using for the first time this blue button called reports. And there's a bunch of things that you have options to. So we are in the communication of learning. So I went over to report cards, and you'll see that there's a lot of different versions. So I need to make sure I select the correct one. So kindergarten initial observation. And it will ask me, I don't want to do the whole school. Let's see. Did I pick the right one? Okay, run. Just it looked different for a second there. Oh, this is my test environment. Sometimes this doesn't work for me. So trust me, I'll show you with the in the learning skill one. Let's go back here.
Just one other tip I was thinking of. If you are writing comments in Google Docs, what I've sometimes done is I'm free writing, and especially fine for math and term one, I get going and I have a lot to comment on, a lot of expectations, a lot of next steps. I'll go to paste it into my math comment box, and then I realize it doesn't fit.
Okay.
So that's one thing when you're working in docs and then putting into the report card. You might want to be kind of checking as you go to see that you're not building a comment that's too long, because there are limits to the space that you have.
Correct. Yeah. And it does look on the progress report, it's really, we're all working in one box. And so when you go and look at it, you might, if someone say put that music comment in, it might be at the top. That's fine. It's going to get pushed down by language. It's going to be pushed down by math later on. So I'm going to back this up. So I'm going to be in reports. I'm in the elementary progress report because I'm now in a homeroom class. I want to see what I've typed in there. And I should make sure I posted grades first. Post grades because I want to look at it on a report card. Yes. This is where I want it to be speedy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, you ran out of room, Dan?
Yeah. I was so proud of myself with what I had written, and I took it from Google Docs and I put it in, and it told me I was like 1,000 words over. I'm like,
oh no,
or words or letters, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, while we wait for this to post here, there is in the tools word count. Mm-hmm. So it's not the same. Well, you get more details. It tells you how many characters you are in here. So you can check in Google before you move over.
Good idea.
Yeah. And I know talking about having 2 screens and all that sort of thing, Aspen likes it when you work in Aspen, log into Aspen on 1 screen only. Sometimes, you know, when you come in and you like log into it twice, it doesn't like that when you're logged in twice. So make sure you only have 1. So I'm going to go to my progress report. I need to make sure I tell it what term I'm in. And you want to see the word winter there. And I'm going to run that report. Take a minute or 2 here. And it will show up as a PDF document. You cannot make edits on this document. It's just for viewing purposes only. So I'll make this a little bit bigger so people can see. So for this class, we had put in some things. So those X's are starting to show up on their evaluation. We've got their learning skills in there. And then, so this is where, if they're progressing well, the X's will start showing where your mark's in. So this is what you can view to see if your reports are, how you're progressing along on that. Okay.
Just, Pam, I just see Denise put in the chat, I don't have the double screen of options that you had for the reports tab. So if you just, I'm not exactly sure what you mean. So I think
the double screen of options that you have for the reports tab. When I click here, this could be just because I'm in a training environment and they gave me access to lots of things. As a classroom teacher, you may only have access to like some of these things. See, I have secondary things in here. It may be just.
So what did you, hi Pam, by the way.
Hi.
So what did you push to get to, I hit the reports and you put the, so you're under the kindergarten, I'm not. So if I go to report cards, elementary progress.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's the one you use now. In January, February, you'll use provincial. So click on that. And then you should get this page. I'll make it a little pop up, see if it's all there. So you're going to make sure you choose winter. And by this date, sort your kids by name and then click run to get the reports to run.
Okay, so yours says 2021. So if I click on that,
yeah,
so it goes to a different one and it says my school year 2020, 2021.
Okay, I'm in a training environment and you're in the real thing. And my training environment doesn't get updated as quickly as your live one. So I know there was an update done to this yesterday. So see how there was one October 16 Aspen has been updated. Please refresh your browser cache. There was another one done today because on the printing of report cards, it was doubling up your language comment. Like you would write it and you would have it in there again. So they were fixing that. So it could be something like that. But the best thing to do, if you have issues like this, there's 2 things to do. Take a picture of it and email it to me explaining your issue. Pictures, like it's great because sometimes I'm like, oh, you just got to click this. Or like, I don't know what's going on. Let's have a Google Meet. And so you can show me. So if you want to do that, just email me and we can problem solve together.
Okay. Thanks, Pam.
You're welcome. So we've got the last thing I want to show you because I got 2 minutes. We never got to the tools part, but if I wanted to add a comment for this student, and this is in the learning skills piece, I can FreeType here. So again, it's choose your own adventure. Maybe I want to copy and paste. And the last option is the little tiny arrow over here on the right-hand side. And there's lots of videos on this to go through, but this is where you can access some codes. So I'm going to click on my codes and I have a learning skill comment that I've created. And so it's something about a safe environment. If I click on that, it will pop over. And what it does is it takes Ryan's name and it makes sure Ryan and the he, she, it only has at this time he and she in there. If you have a student that uses the pronoun they, it is a manual fix for now. but you can use that. And I'll say if I want to save and go to the next kid, this one's Cameron. I'm going to give him the same code. I can use that learning skill and it pops in and Cameron's name is changed there. So how do we get to that is in this tool part. So I know I'm at my last minute. I just wanted to show you in tools, you're in comments and comments. It's a little clunky to get there, but a video will walk you through the process. And I've been building some comments. So this is my comment library. And this is just ones that I've created. Over here, there is a potential, there's other, like there's a generic comment bank that's been added in, but the quality, some of it's good, some of it's not so good. For example, the old math curriculum comments are in there, so they're not being used. So you'll have to decide if you want to use this. But if you'd like to make a comment, just add one. And I'm going to show you what's in the comment. So it ends up looking like this. You have an ID that you have to use. The red means you have to put it in there. A little preview. What's this comment about? When you're in this box, you may want to use the code language. You see all these fancy brackets. That's what signals the boy, girl, he, she, and names. And then you can sort these categories out. I won't rush to do this, but there are videos about that. And we probably will get to this on the Thursday session just because it's a refresher for them. But it is possible to add some comments there and to your comment bank. There you go. But I'm not going to push it. That's my full hour. So thank you so much for your time today. Thank you, Lori, for being my co-host. You did a great job.
Pam. Pam is a wealth of information. And like she said, there's all those resources there for you. And she's so happy to touch base with you if you have any specific questions.
Absolutely. I'll stay on the line if people wish to ask questions, that's fine. Yeah. But if you're ready to get some food and get some outside adventure started, off you go and use your resources that you have available at your fingertips, including your instructional coaches. They are great advocates for what's going on in the world of assessment and learning. So use them as they come to your school. Yeah.
Okay.